So I have two challenges for you this morning, but we'll get to those a little bit later. You may remember a few weeks ago when I shared the acronym FACE from Jane Simmons' book, You Can't Sleep Through Your Awakening, a practice to remind us to show up with our authentic face that in turn allows us to face whatever is showing up in our world. So FACE, the acronym stands for first forgiveness. Forgiveness, sometimes we describe that in Unity as giving understanding for. That when we understand that other people's behaviors are not against us, but rather they just reflect their own unconscious beliefs, their own separation from their divinity, allows us to at least be a little more successful in letting go of our own defensive reactions. Feelings of appreciation and gratitude, which we are in the season of right now, can move us. And it's not only something that helps us mentally or emotionally, but physically. When we are in that energy of appreciation and gratitude, it actually moves us from that high stress sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. And when we are in that state, it opens up the possibilities. It feeds our system more dopamine and serotonin, which are those feel-good feelings. It actually has a physical reaction. And it can shift our perspective to one that everything is happening for my good. It lets us begin to, at least at times, see life through that lens. Compassion is also deeply nourishing and healing. It helps dissolve our belief in separation and allows us to live from a more open heart. And finally, embodiment means that we have to practice it. It's not enough just to know it, but we have to practice forgiveness. We have to practice appreciation. Sometimes it takes an intentional effort to do that. It doesn't naturally rise up. We have to practice compassion. These are muscles that need to be exercised regularly if they are to be strong, if they are to be resilient, if they are to be something that serves us in those times when perhaps we're not as awake, but the muscle memory is there. So I recently ran across another acronym. That seems to be my thing lately. I just keep all these little acronyms show up, and I wanted to share this from you. This was from Suzanne Giesemann, and the acronym is HEAR, H-E-A-R. One of the greatest gifts that we can give our family, our friends, our coworkers, and even strangers is to be present and truly listen to them. The vast majority of the people, and perhaps you could be counted among them, report that they don't really feel heard, that their opinions don't really matter. So to use this HEAR acronym, the first thing that it asks you to do is halt or stop. Take a moment, take a breath to be fully present. Before you even think about what to say, pause for a minute and recognize that you're going to go into this dialogue. So you put aside your distractions. There is nothing worse than trying to talk to somebody and they are on their phone and they're scrolling along. How often does that make you feel heard? Or they're fiddling with something else while you're wanting to engage with them. So for just that moment, let that breath be the reminder to go, okay, I'm going to set this aside. I can pick it back up again. And even to try and quiet your own inner chatter. One of the greatest ways that people can know that you're ready to listen to them is to make eye contact. Again, that's not something that we do really often. Think about how many meetings you're in, and people are either writing notes or they got their head. Nobody's really sitting there and looking at each other eye to eye. This simple act, just taking a breath and bringing yourself present, tells them, you matter enough for me to stop and be here with you. It's a great start. So the E stands for engage, not just with your ears, but to remind you to engage with your heart. To connect, to take a moment and go, I'm going to have this conversation and I want to have it. heart to heart. It doesn't matter what space they're in. This is about where you're going to show up from. Listen for the feeling behind their words. Sometimes people say, I'm fine, but their body language, their voice, the way that they're showing up does not really reflect a sense of being fine. Generally care about what they're sharing. Be interested in it. Sometimes it's helpful to just take a moment when you're doing that breath and to say, I am listening with love. So you breathe, and I'm going to listen with love, with an open heart. And then the A is to remind us to allow them, whoever we're having that exchange with, to express whatever needs to come through. Even if it's messy and emotional or uncomfortable or you disagree, but to be that presence that just allows them to express whatever's showing up for them without an urge for you to share why you have a different opinion or to correct what you might think is inaccurate in what they're saying. When you allow someone's truth to unfold naturally, they feel respected, and there is even a sense of acceptance. And finally, the R is to truly receive what they are saying in words, in tone, in energy, and in order to let them know it's been received. And I know some of you that have done any kind of interpersonal work are aware of this, but how often do we practice it, is to sort of mirror back to them, reflect back to them what you just heard. Not what you think about it, but what you heard. It might be something like, it sounds like you're feeling, or I imagine that, something that just lets them know that you received it and you were listening. When people feel received, they not only feel heard, but understood. And that's where the real gift lies. And it can be profoundly healing. If you've ever had that experience, it can be the simple presence that allows deep shifts to take place in our lives, allows us to see things a little differently. It expands our perspective, and it opens the heart of the person being heard. To allow others to feel heard, don't just listen, hear them. Halt the noise, engage with love, allow the truth, their own truth, to be expressed, and receive it with your heart. When we practice it this way, hear actually becomes a form of spiritual listening. You notice that when Jesus was one-on-one with somebody, he wasn't distracted by whatever the crowds were doing. He wasn't worried about what he was going to say when he got up to speak to the crowd. He was fully present, cared about, and received them exactly in the place that they were in that moment. And that is often what created the space for miracles to unfold for them. Just that they were important and respected and heard and valued was transformative. It honors both the divine in others and the divine within you. So this morning we're going to begin by giving ourselves, because sometimes we have to be willing to hear ourselves, hear that inner dialogue that's going on. Let it be, not affirm it away, which is sometimes what we tend to do in unity. We just don't, but to be willing to sit with whatever those challenges and fears and worries are within our own, to be able to honor those in the same way and truly and deeply listen to them. So as we move into our time of meditation, that few moments where we just bring our attention inward, where we seek our own experience and understanding of that indwelling God. You might want to close your eyes or just Soften your gaze so that you are becoming just present in this moment and what is going on within you. You might want to start with this intention or something like it. Today, in this moment, may I see and hear and love myself through the eyes and the ears of my soul. Visualize your heart as a soft, expanding outward ball of energy, ready to meet all parts of you with a calm presence and compassion. And if the mind starts to wander, just simply go back to the breath again, allowing that breath to bring you back to this present moment. Just take a few of those cleansing breaths. And as you let each breath go, let go of anything that's not a part of this present moment. Feel yourself arriving right here, right now. Imagine that the mind begins to soften, the thoughts begin to slow, your body begins to relax. Your awareness opens like a flower in the sunlight. And as you bring your attention further inward, just halt all the outer noise for just a few moments. Know that there is nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to fix. There is just this eternal present moment. Feel the stillness beneath your thoughts, the quiet space where peace lives. And in that stillness, silently say to yourself, I am present. I am here. And then shift your attention down into your heart space. Imagining once again this soft golden light glowing there. Warm, steady, loving. And aware of the breath in this moment. With each breath, that light fills, it expands, filling your chest, your being, the space around you. Let yourself feel love. Love for life. Love for the spirit that is always there guiding you. Love for those who cross your path. Again, silently affirm, I listen with my heart. I listen with the energy of love. Now just simply allow whatever arises. Be open to and just make welcome any thoughts, any emotions, sensations, and just allow them to simply be. Seeing them, listening, loving them. You don't need to push or control anything. Just breathe and trust. You are safe to allow the flow of this inner life exactly as it is in this moment. And finally, just open yourself to receive, whether that comes in the form of guidance, a feeling of connection, understanding, compassion, next steps. Imagine your heart as a receiver tuned in to love's frequency, to the God channel. And whisper to yourself, I receive with love. I receive from love. I hear with my soul. Stay in this feeling, tuned in for a few more quiet breaths. And then begin to allow gratitude to fill you. Grateful for the gift of listening. Grateful for the beauty of connection. Grateful for the presence of spirit and the awareness that we never walk this journey alone. It's impossible, because we are all interconnected in the one energy of love that we call God. And then on your next breath, just feel your attention coming back to the sounds in the room, to the space that's supporting you, to your body. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. I know sometimes we just want to stay there. Could we just stay here for a little while longer? I do anyway. Like, I'll just hang out here. So during my spiritual retreat that I was on over this past weekend, I was able to do some deep listening and healing work, specifically with my inner child. Now I have to tell you, up until about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I didn't even know I had an inner child. I mean, I heard about an inner child, but I didn't make any efforts or recognize that there was still that little Linda alive, and in fact, as I've discovered, directing the show a lot of the times, out of that child's unhappiness, fears, unhealed wounds. They were often the ones that were prompting me to move in a certain way or react in a certain way. And to recover as part of this process, because this is the real part, that the reason that you would want to do this, to excavate through some of this, some of the joy that got lost in my journey to adulthood. How many of you think you're just as joyful today as you were on Christmas morning when you were 5 years old? There's something, I mean, we've just kind of gotten it wrong along the way to say, oh, we have to put all those childish things away. But really, joy enthusiasm, creativity, resiliency is all intermixed with that inner child. It reminded me of something that Jesus said, and he said it twice, so whenever, it's repeated in many of the Gospels, it was a central message, and he says, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." No, he wasn't saying, become children like you're dependent upon me for everything, like oftentimes we are as young children. He's talking about the joy. He's talking about being open. As adults, we think we kind of know it all. We think, yeah, I've been there and done that, and as children, we're infinitely curious about everything. Everything is a new adventure. Everything is something to get excited about when we're embarking upon those new adventures. So one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves is to nurture that inner little boy or little girl in each of us. Taking a little time each day to connect and to hear them has been shown to activate our playfulness, our creativity. It also increases our resiliency and enhances our ability to live a more authentic life. So to get you started today, I've offered you a gift. Maybe not everyone didn't get one. We got plenty. You can raise your hand if you didn't get a little plushie. Susan will come and share them with you. This is just a little bitty one, because oftentimes going back to these little soft, we could pet them. We teach our children to self-soothe, and oftentimes it was with a little plushie that, we could feel safe with, that we felt like they loved us, petting it in times of stress. And they're showing this now, they're trying to get adults to go back to do this. If you're petting it, it brings you a sense of calm. It can kind of help you move back to center in times of high emotional distress. You can even do it to yourself. You can imagine, I know this seems a little weirder. You want to probably do it when you're by yourself, and not in the middle of a room, sitting in your meeting going, "Oh my God, Jesus, please help me come," You can, but people might be wondering what the heck you're doing. But it also helps to open our heart. So I really want to encourage you this year. How many of you go, "Oh, I don't need anything for Christmas. You don't need to buy me anything." So I want you to add this, whether it's you're telling your kids you want this, or you're telling your parents you want this, or your friends. I want a big old, very plush little stuffed animal, Get them out. You can get them big, you can get them really, really big. So that is there as a solid reminder to enliven your inner child's joy. I'm also going to encourage you to make a point when you're gathering with family and friends to play games. I saw there's some organization now that this year, instead of giving out toys, they're giving out board games to all of these families, because board games encourage you to, get out the old Monopoly, get out, whatever games were part of yours, or go outside, and play. We used to play kick the can, or we'd play release, or we had all these games as kids that we'd be out there focused on, all in on. So instead of, worrying about what gifts you're going to get or the food that you've got to serve, begin thinking about what kind of joyful experience can I bring to the table this holiday, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or all the other activities that lead up to that. So that's the first challenge, is to enliven your inner child's joy in whatever way that shows up for you. And your second challenge is to practice really hearing the people that you encounter. It's the most challenging when it's with the people who know where all your buttons are, and just by the very fact of getting together There's already sort of, an energy set up. If you're feeling really strong, go there. But if not, just do it, in the people that you encounter along the way. Do it with your friends. You'll likely not do it perfectly. Sometimes you're going to miss it altogether, and that's okay. We only get there by being willing to practice it. Because the greatest gift that you can give this holiday season is to give someone the gift of being heard. May your joy and blessings multiply. Well, it is our time now in the service where we get to share of our financial good with this community. We are grateful and blessed with all the good that we receive in and through this ministry, with the ways that we are able to share it with our community, and for the blessings that flow as a result. In just a moment, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row where you can share your gift if you're offering one today in the large basket. Excuse me, and then receive an affirmation from the smaller basket to bless you this week. So let us take what we offer today into our hearts and into our hands as we join and bless it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
So let's go ahead and stand up together. We're going to join hands and do our peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.
And so as we go into this week, seeking more joy-filled experiences as we deeply hear those around us, we go, knowing our prayer for protection. We'll do it as a call and response. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us. Together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.